Here's a what-if kind of build, a Kyosho Scorpion chassis underneath a Cox Toyota Stadium Supra body and a few other little Cox parts. And we'll get right into it. Kyosho never built a Kyosho Scorpion as a Toyota Stadium Racer Supra. It's a long name for basically, or Toyota had technically a Baja short course style Supra of the Celica way back then, and Cox, which was basically a cheaper variant of Kyosho at the time, had basically they put this body on a Kyosho Pegasus Bandito, basically the same thing, chassis underneath. However, that chassis is kind of garbage stock, and I had a rough Kyosho Scorpion at the time, and I got a cough for a moment. Sorry, everyone. It wasn't a very good chassis, but the body was very cool on these. And hindering it was the chassis underneath and all that. I had a rough Kyosho and subsequently put some parts together to make something that could have been. I'll take the body off in a moment, but a few things to note. All I did was I shortened the chassis by about roughly 3/4 of an inch. The wheelbase follows quite well in the wheel wells. We're getting a bad angle of this, but overall it follows. It actually fits in the wheel well correctly. My camera's not quite following correctly, but it follows well. We have full suspension compression without rubbing, and overall it's pretty cool. And we'll pull the body off now. It is good to note that I'm using, from memory, it's just a handful of parts that are outside of Kyosho or Cox that it takes to make this conversion. And we'll show a few keynotes of how it's been done. Just pull the body off. Now, all I did here was we took some plastic and cut an angle to counteract the cut of the chassis, drilled some holes, used some Kyosho hardware. Then I used Team Associated old battery stub or battery tray holds, or they're just old school or Team Associated screws with a hole drilled inside of them, so they work like a body pin. They're awesome, and I wish I had more of them. And then I ended up having a scrap piece of fiberglass from an SRB build, which we've probably seen in a few other videos. It stabilizes this solid. It's a perfect width to hold the body up correctly. It's cheap, simple, looks stock, and that's all I did to modify the front end to work. We're running some Cox style front wheels and tires, and the rear same thing. It's just a matter that I don't have technically the correct ones for the Cox Toyota Stadium Supra, but it's what I had from a rough, or I believe the name is Cox Bandito buggy, which is where I sourced a few of the parts to make this crazy thing. And going back here, I ended up using a Kyosho Turbo Scorpion rear wing mount to just be the rear body mount. Threw in a few Team Associated battery trays, hold down body clip things, or screws, I don't know the technical name for it. And then just set a wheel nut or a small Team Associated nut underneath to basically correct the, well, I don't know how to say it, but basically correct the height of the body to keep it in line with how everything was fitting wheel wells and to anything that was rubbing. Overall, that was the only modification I had to make to the back end, and we'll get to where I shortened a few things, as I said. Getting back here, this was the original hole to here, and in the camera it's not quite following roughly, but in person this was roughly 3/4 of an inch. It was, well, hold on a second, I am sorry, it was actually, I think, what was it, 7/8 of an inch, I believe I shortened the chassis. It's been a while now. This thing's been sitting on the back burner just because I've had a few crazier builds coming up, like a Tamiya Falcon that's been going on. So anyways, just wanted to get a quick video of this thing out because it's something you won't see too many people do, but I highly encourage it. It's something that it fits the chassis well, it looks amazing, and you don't see many of these. Anyways, that's all. Hope you guys have a good evening.